I've been meaning to talk about this for about a week. It's been bugging me. This is my Florida Panthers hat. This is the Florida Panthers jersey from their first year. This is not the one that I got last summer. This is their original jersey from their first year in the league, and it's kind of ratty, but the camera doesn't show it. It's when it first came out, I had to have the jersey. I've loved Florida, the image, for decades, and I want to see the team do well. So when Gerard Gallant got fired, I was stunned. And the players were stunned. There were numerous tweets from players on the team who were big fans of the coach. And it's easy to say, well, just because the players like a coach doesn't mean he should stay. No. But when your players like your coach, and other teams like your coach, and other coaches like your coach, and he's well respected and considered to be one of the better coaches in the league, the idea that an owner can come down and say, yeah, he's gone. We're going to call him a cab and get him to the airport. That is so unprofessional. Then Tom Rowe gets interviewed. He's the GM. He's now the coach of the team. And what does he say? It wasn't my call. Basically, in Tom Rowe's opinion, that doesn't happen if he's making the call. The owner made that call. Now, on Hockey Central, Nick Kyprios made the comment, I think it was yesterday, or it was the day before. Here's the problem with Florida now. So we've got all this analytics, right? And we got all this, okay, we're putting together the perfect team, and all these non-hockey guys are making the decisions and everything. Now, if you want to do business with Florida, do you go to Tom Rowe? No, you go straight to the owner. If you're a player, you want more ice time, you go straight to the owner. Because Tom Rowe, the moment that Gerard Gallant's fired and he goes, I don't know what's going on, he loses all authority. You can't have a team run that way. Now, here in Vancouver, we have a broken situation with Jim Benning and Trevor Linden, sure. But there's a hierarchy there. And I have never seen in Vancouver where anything's happened where Linden's made a decision and Benning's gone, I don't know what's going on. And it is such a foreign thing that I look at the Panthers right now and I say, what a disaster. And this is a team that's missed Bukestad for extended periods of time. Huberdeau's been out the whole season. You've got a starting goaltender who's in his late 30s, and I love Luongo. I think he's a fantastic goalie, but he only has a couple years left. You've got a team that's still got Jaromir Jagr in the top six. Jagr is almost done. Now, I've got scoring stats up here. Now, everybody was on me because I didn't mention Marchessault in an earlier video about scoring. Hi, Shadow. But I didn't mention Marchessault. And it's like, oh, why isn't he mentioning Marchessault? Because when a guy who's been a bit player or a guy whose stats have been underwhelming, when he starts off really, really strong, he can't really keep that up. Now, Marchessault got hurt, so he's been out the last couple of games. And this is a team that already didn't have a ton of offense. Barkov is on pace for 50 points and about 15 goals. Trocheck is on pace for about 45 points and 18 or 20 goals. Jagr's on pace for about 40 points, about 15 goals. Keith Yandel's been playing great on the blue line, but he's on pace for 3 goals. Demers is on pace for 12 goals, has looked good. Demers might be one of the few exceptions here. Demers might be having a career year. Riley Smith has fallen back, as I predicted during the summer. And when Riley Smith signed the big money deal in Florida, I said Florida was insane, and I said it was too much money for Riley Smith. And there were people who said that I was wrong, that advanced stats prove that Riley Smith is a better player than, and they throw out all these big star names. Well, that big star Riley Smith is on pace for 12 goals and 30 points this year. And he's done this before. Riley Smith is not a consistent 50-point player. And for him to get to 50 points right now, he'd have to get 40 points in the next 55 games. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say he probably doesn't hit 50 points this year. Colton Sevier, 10 points in 27 games. So he's on pace for about 15 goals and about 30 points. That's fantastic for Colton Sevier and for what they signed him for. So he's got the exact same number of points as Riley Smith. He's got one more goal and one less assist than Riley Smith. The plus minus is barely any difference. And their wages are, what, a $4 million difference? Matheson's having an okay start. Malgin's got 4 goals, 8 points in 27 games. And then I go to the second page, and you got Ekblad, who has not really turned on the offense as I think we'd expected. He is on pace for about 20 goals, which is fantastic. But those 2 assists he's got so far are they have to be an outlier. Like there's got to be some assists coming for this kid. UC Okinen looks like he's about done. He's got 5 points in 17 games. And then it's bit players and support guys from there. Jared McCann, 3 points in 17 games. He should have stayed in Vancouver. I know players in Vancouver may not have liked him, but he played better in Vancouver than he has in Florida. And if this is a matter of, well, analytics state this guy should be playing more than this guy. Okay, well, Gallant is an old-fashioned coach. And most coaches are. And I'm not sure where you go from here if you're Florida, but it is a disaster. It is an absolute disaster, and it is upsetting for a guy who wants to cheer for the Panthers, wants to see them win in the playoffs for the first time in 20 years, get somewhere, and you know deep down, and I know deep down, that this is just awful. This is ownership overstepping their bounds. This was a team that had 103 points last year, and yes, analytics state that it was an overachievement, like Colorado was a few years ago and Calgary was a couple years ago. But you know what? You can't just cut a team's nuts off and say, well, you had the best season you've ever had, but we're going to completely revamp everything. I said during the summer, when you revamp your entire blue line, it's going to take a while for it to gel. When you rip your team apart and put it back together, there's no guarantee that all of those pieces are going to fit well together. I'm going to look to another sport here. I'm going to look to the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays had better individual pieces about 5 years ago, back when they made the Reyes deal. They had fantastic individual pieces on the field. As a team, they sucked. Now, the last couple of years, the Blue Jays have managed to get the right mix of players, and they've been much better. But, when you just look at the individual pieces and go, yep, ding, 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 ding. Well, how do they play as a team? It's sort of like when I look back at the Canucks, and Flames fans can back me up on this one. Tim Hunter was a guy who I'm sure analytics would have hated him. Why is this guy in the league? But Tim Hunter was a good team guy. He was a leader in the dressing room. He gave the team an emotional boost in many cases when he got into a fight or laid out a big hit. And those are the things that the Panthers seem to be allergic to. I don't see a team when I look at Florida and say, wow, I'd be scared to beat them in the playoffs. Not really. Because, and I said this during the summer too, where's their scoring? Their scoring is non-existent. And when I hear people say, well, their puck possession numbers are great. Okay, fine. You can possess the puck. Can you score? Can you score a damn goal? I mean, I might be really good at, and I mean, I'll say this from my own experience in floor hockey. I was very good in the corners. I was very good at getting the ball away from whoever had it, the hockey ball. I was very good at getting the ball away from whoever had it. They might have been a much more talented player than me, but I could get that ball away, but I could not score. I was not a scorer. So I had to pass it to the scorers, and I knew they would get the goal, and I'd get the assist, and I'd look like a genius. But who is Florida passing that puck to? With Huberdeau out, and with Bjugstad not playing in Bjugstad style, because last time I looked, he's up to 8 games now, and he doesn't have a point. And that hurts. That seriously hurts. They picked up Seth Griffith. He is not scoring either. Who scores the goal? Am I passing the puck to Barkov? Barkov's got 5 goals in 27 games. Am I passing it to Trocheck? He has 6 goals. Am I passing it to Yager? He has 5 goals. Am I passing it to Riley Smith? He has 4. Colton Sevier, 5. 3 of those were in a hat trick. So he's had 2 in the other 26 games. So who am I passing the puck to for the Panthers? Oh, but we got to get rid of Gerard Gallant because Gallant's the problem. This team is built to win with depth. The problem is none of that depth can score. Yes, Marchessault, 10 goals in 25 games, 19 points in 25 games. Fantastic year he's having. The rest of the team around him, not putting the puck in the net. You can look at Barkov and say, well, he scored 17 points. Yep. He's got 12 assists. Damn straight he does. He's got 5 goals. And when your team isn't scoring goals and you're counted on and paid to be a goal scorer, you should probably score some goals. And that's the problem for Florida right now. So you guys can be free to mention in the comments and answer however you like. But to me, Florida can't score. And I don't care about puck possession. They can't score. Let's take a look at another team right now that is using an analytics approach. The Arizona Coyotes. Oh, analytics. Okay. Number 1 scorer, Radim Verbata. 17 points in 25 games. Verbata's on pace for about 55 points this year, having a very good season. Next up, Max Domi with 15. He's a second-year player. And then you get down to Reeder, Martinuk, Hansel, Richardson. Like, the list gets ugly early. D'Angelo is down there, too. Let me take a look. Where is he? Anthony Duclair, who apparently is on the trade market. 1 goal in 24 games. 1. 4 points. So, again, and I know this is early. I know the GM just took over, the kid GM in Arizona. But this is where it gets silly to me. You need to score goals. Baseball, you can use advanced numbers to say, okay, this guy gets on base a lot. These guys walk a lot. Awesome. You can generate runs without home runs, without doubles, without power. You can do it if guys are able to get on base, get walked a lot, and are smart at the plate. If your team can't score, there's absolutely nothing you can do to become a contender. You can win games here and there. You can manage to choke the life out of a game and win 2-1 once in a while. But in general, you're going to be swimming against the current, and you're going to end up in this kind of situation where you have a team that cannot score goals. And goal scoring in the NHL, like Jim Benning came out, I'm looking for a 20-goal scorer. Good for you. So's everybody else. Chris Higgins is on the market. Are you serious, Benning? Are you serious? Everybody knows he's on the market. He's got a sign on his back for sale, for rent. Take me. I don't want to be in Vancouver. Like, this was last year, of course, when you did that with Higgins. But it's so obvious to me that you need goal scorers, and yet these teams are not doing a lot to generate offense. Like, puck possession numbers are fine. Puck possession is fantastic. It is a part of the picture. And with the guys calling the shots in Florida, I can't see it ending in anything other than a complete flippin' disaster. And here's the other problem. You have a team where ownership is, willy-nilly firing the coach with no forethought of what they're doing. Because if they had forethought, they would have fired him at a completely different time. So they're clearly just reactionary. Well, players don't really want to play in a situation where they might just get traded all of a sudden. In this day and age of no movement clauses and of wanting long-term contracts, they want to make sure they're signing with a team where they're going to stay and they're going to want to stay. Where do you think the Panthers rate right now if you're an NHL player? They're not very high on your list. And that's sad because Florida, just by being Florida, should be high on every player's list, especially the older veterans. But again, if you can score goals, you're not playing in Florida. So let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know why I'm wrong. And tell me, Where do you think Florida finishes? Do they finish below Toronto and the Islanders and finish dead last in the East? Because they certainly seem to be aiming for it. And certainly the Panthers seem, when I watch them, they seem like a defeated team right away. No matter how much Denny Potvin tries to cheer them on from the broadcast booth, there's no anything to their game. And it was bad before Gallant. And if anything, to me, from what I've seen, from the limited games since the firing, they haven't been better since the firing. If anything, they've seemed worse. So just let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. I will likely be back with another video tonight before I turn in. I don't work tomorrow, so it doesn't have to be early. But thank you for watching, and if you're just browsing through, don't forget to hit like and subscribe.